And here we are doing another live stream on the twitch.tv/the where I can hear a witch. I am slightly worried that it will jump round the corner and poison me to death. But let's hope that's not the case. We're going to be doing a bunch of stuff in today's stream. We're going to be working on the ribcage a bit more. And we're going to be working on a storage system. I thought it'd be cool to show you some of the steps we have to undertake when using Litematica and setting up projects and whatnot. And one of those next projects is a storage room. So why not go through that process together here on a stream? We've got bananas in chat from Lucaro, 15 Fine and Jaden Ellis. Thank you ever so much for your bananas in chat. It lets me know that I'm streaming, that all is good in the hood and that you can see what's going on here. Appreciate it. So yeah, it's a Thursday. You get to do an extra stream this week because we know what's up with the pre-releases and all of that. We also learned the Wild Update release date is 7th of June today. We'll probably just mention that in the next pre-release video that I make, which will most likely be on Monday. I'm also going to be streaming tomorrow on Saturday as well. So, more Hermitcraft streams, I guess. Which I think is good news, right? I believe it is good news. Oh yeah, I should probably be collecting some cobblestone while I do this. That was sort of one of our goals with the ribcage. Do you know what I've done? I've gone and left my ender chest and all of my shulker boxes in spoiler territory. Dang it. And what's the best way to get over there? Indeed. It would probably be through the Nether, so if we head out of here, we should head out. I need to practice heading out of here from this spot. So Shui away, thank you for 4 months of support, my dude. Greatly appreciated. Hope you're enjoying the stream we're doing here today. Well, that's also probably spoilers. Oh, you got a glimpse. Oh dear, the most prankable base on Hermitcraft has been pranked. Who would do such a thing? It's like season 2 all over again. Blue Bottle 77, thank you so much for 68 months. Greatly appreciated. That is Evil X right there. Hope you had a nice day so far. I did. Just a nice busy day, one thing after the other, right? Ate some good food, did my workouts, got a lot of stuff done, and didn't actually do any recording today. Yeah, I left all of my stuff unpacked. I completely forgot, so I need to go. You know what I'm like with spoilers and stuff, right? You're not allowed to see what I've been up to. It's illegal. The Wild Update is coming. Experience the greater outdoors on June the 7th, says Foxboy. Is that the tagline that they've gone with? Because people are going to rip into that, I feel like. DJ Echo, thank you so much for 50 months. We got Benderbot for free as well. Appreciate all your support, peeps. It's always a pleasure. Hey, oh, this is cool. My first time catching a stream at the start, says Professor Dextra Lord. Extra Lord, I hate to break it to you, but I've been streaming for the last 3 minutes. Gosh, you've missed so much. God, that mumbo prank we did. Whew. Chat's still in confusion about it. They can't comprehend how it all came together. Right, so top quality. Do you know? Let's just click on that one. Top quality entertainment. Oh my goodness me, the stream is just so much better now. Wow. Oh, God, imagine if you tuned in right now and you're hearing this, oh my God, it's amazing. Oh, I can't believe what I'm seeing. Chat, y'all got to be like, wow, that's so cool. Oh my goodness me. Because if someone tunes in, they see that black screen, right, they're going to be like, oh, it's not working for me. But they might not notice that the bar's at the top, so you know what to do. Oh my goodness me. Oh, jeez, this is absolutely epic. I can barely believe it. Chat, can you believe what you're seeing? Is it unbelievable? I think it is. Oh, a Minecraft first. Never before have I seen a sight so glorious. Goodness me. Chat, have you ever seen something incredible as this? Mind-blowing. Yes, yes it is. This is truly mind-blowing what's happening right now. Oh. Oh, they'll speak of this for years to come. This is the coolest thing we've ever seen in Minecraft. Sally Ann, thank you for 78 months. That's Evil X right there. Greatly appreciate it. And Lucaro, 42 months even. Hey X, your screen is black. What do you mean my screen is black? There's nothing wrong with the screen. My screen is black. I can say that I've got a black monitor, right? See, I'm clever. Oh, I'm so smart. I'm so smart. That was so unbelievably epic. God, they'll talk about that for years to come. Right, now let's... Wait, how do I get... I guess there's going to be spoilers because I got to fly back to the skull now. I kind of also need to grab... Yeah, I'm going to need to grab a beacon and move it. So much fluffing around on these streams, isn't there? Is it me or is there less lag? I feel like... no, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. Oh my goodness me! What is wrong with this thing? Why has it put it in the top corner? This makes no sense. That is not what I instructed the program to do, believe me. Definitely the program's fault. Okay, so I've got to put things back in here, right? Where's the number one? Okay, it's there. See, I like to put them in order. Just makes the whole organizational thing a little bit easier. There we go. So now we fly away. And we got Sir Firelord for a whole year, saying, 1 year. Discovered this community just over a year ago from a live now video on YouTube. And by God, was that a great decision. Created my Twitch account, waited 10 months, never looked back. Love you, Shishwami, and all the Discord peeps. Love y'all. I'm glad you've enjoyed being a part of this community so much, dude. That's awesome. The Thinky says, hey X, your screen is too big. Please make it smaller and put it in the corner. Oh, see, some people like the corner. They like it. They think it's amazing. We might have a thumbnail then. Oh, I tell you what, at night time this don't look so good. Beats by Dre, right? That's the meme, isn't it? Let's see. We need to pinch this and move it to the other spot. Okay, this was the one for the slime, so we got to go all the way down. I can hear moaning and groaning. All the way down through the scaffold. The skull is listening to Dardude's Sandstorm. It probably is. Okay. I need to get out of here. I just thought I'd add a few extra torches. Sano of Scarva is here. Gifting a sub to Jin Yu Lee. Thank you for gifting that sub. Hey, when I take this beacon out, doesn't it mean that all the scaffolding's going to fall down? Oh, I didn't need it anyway. Some of it will be stuck up top and it will never be that big of a deal, will it? Thanks, I'll leave it up there. Ah! When breaking scaffolding, you need to do it like this. Thank you for gifting the sub, greatly appreciated. We also got Sir Firelord gifting subs too to KT and Joff Nathan. If you heard your name being read out loud, be sure to say thanks in the chat. We always appreciate the gifting of the subs. If only someone had a sugarcane farm. How would that help us? Don't you mean a bamboo farm? Hey, I might pick up more of these on the way out, now that I think about it, because I'm going to fly out of here. So, like, there's an incomplete stack. And if I just go straight up, without doing anything else. See, look, there's more, and I picked them up. And I picked up some more after that. So now I need to go to the top of the hill. And find the hold up. It's getting closer. Okay, I'm going to tap spacebar. That was enough risk for me. Eat some food. Why pick them up when you can just keep buying from Illuminate? Well, I don't know if you've noticed, but I don't really use the shops. I like to be self-sufficient. I feel like once you start using the shops, they become a crux, and then they stifle creativity. I wouldn't have built a whole tree farm of my own design if I kept using the shops. That was a lot of fun. So from this spot, I don't actually have a path to the next bit. So once again, familiar sight, me just whizzing up out of here. Doesn't take too long, does it? Professor Dextrolord says, gotta say your waffle's always inspiring. I wonder what today's waffle will be about. Hey, if ever you got something you want to, And what's on top? Oh, sea lanterns. I thought I saw a beacon. I was like, that's a very welcome gift. If ever you got a suggestion, something you want to hear a waffle about, just throw it into chat. There are a couple of things on my mind, but also, well, actually, yeah, we can talk about a video that I posted that I then took down. So I've been talking a bit about the housing crisis and buying a house, and we had some like footage that was edited together from the stream, but I feel like unless I'm to articulate myself properly, it doesn't really come across very well. So I woke up, saw the comments, was reading them, and then I was like, okay, I think I need to watch this video to find out exactly how it was put together. And then I decided after that to take it down. So maybe a small fraction of you saw that video because some of you watched it, but not a crazy amount because I took it down. But I've been thinking over and over again on how to like properly express what I was trying to express, because I didn't mean to undermine that there is a housing crisis and that people are affected by it. That was not my intention at all. And the way that I would describe it is that the ability for an individual or a couple to afford a house has many variable economic factors based on location, all sorts of factors, including personal decisions too. And so, like, if you imagine these are like rungs on a ladder, and it's down here at the bottom that people are being affected by the housing crisis, and that's a bad thing. We don't want that. I'm in no way saying there isn't a problem or the problem shouldn't be addressed. It's just along with talking about it, we should also identify that it doesn't actually affect everyone, and that some people might be, you know, a bit higher up on the ladder. If you're at the top, you probably well and truly know it, right? But you might be actually a bit more above water than you realize. So I'm speaking from a personal experience and also that of people I've seen around me, or anecdotal stories I've heard, etc. But it makes complete sense, right? Everyone's economic situation is not entirely equal. And the only thing that I wanted to project was just that in understanding that there is a housing crisis, you might individually misassess your own position within it. And that's in no way to say that therefore it's all right and don't worry about it or anything like that. It's a big issue. It needs to be tackled. Something needs to change. We need to, you know, lift. What's the rising tide lifts all boats. We need to change society from the bottom up and, you know, bring everyone up together. I'm not trying to say anything against that, you know. But the point I was trying to make in this video that didn't come across very well is that you may misassess the situation you're in personally, and that's because I see these, like, you know, online conversations about it and discussions where it's very like doom and gloom, and there's also a lot of what's it called, like, you know, studies being done on how millennials spend their money, and they're finding that millennials are the generation that save the least and spend the most on experiences, right? Now, you know, that's no judgment on how people spend their money, and everyone should be, you know, we should have a society that can provide housing for people while they, you know, do good with their lives and have good experiences, and not, you know, just be slaves or whatever. But again, it highlights a little bit of what I think some people might fall into, is an economic reality where you can make different decisions with your time and your money, and maybe you're not actually lower down on that ladder, that metaphorical ladder that I described than you think. And that's just for everyone to like think about for themselves. It's not like I'm saying this applies to everyone. Do I make sense? That study may not be taking into account the amount of disposable income of millennials, says Vict95. I think that's the point of the study. It's about how incomes are spent among generations. Like when you hear this stuff, you do have to like accept it to some extent, and I guess hope that the people doing the study have due diligently done their research and put together the numbers correctly, because all statistics are essentially fallible in one way or another. You know, they're an attempt to understand reality, and they can always have more context, more depth, more nuance. So you take it with a pinch of salt. And if you want, like, the thing is, if you want to if you want to then undermine the idea of this study, you've got to treat it with the same respect of the way the study's being conducted. You can't just underpin something. I feel like I'm not having a good day explaining myself. Like, the value of the information in the study, based on how it's conducted, etc., it's trying to understand reality and put it into numbers and whatnot. And sometimes the way that's done can be flawed. So, you know, I can't spend all day reading studies and stuff when I hear about them. I trust some of the sources I get these from, and I can understand that they can be they can make mistakes, or you know, future studies might come along and correct them. But well, like, if you're going to like just generally throw an accusation that the information is incorrect, you've got to do like the same legwork as the study, right? To prove that. So anyway, like, let's say we just go on the merit that this study is somewhat reasonable, and that this is what people want to spend their money on these days. It's like trying to give us an insight into, you know, how values sort of transcend through different generations, different ideas, different things are important to different groups of people. And statistics like that might be able to give you an insight into like what shapes these things. The message is good, but giving it while talking about the housing crisis is what made the message not appreciated, says Was Up. Yeah, I would say just the way it was edited together, it just didn't have, like, it wasn't structured, it was very waffly, and so it didn't sound very good. So I thought of this example. The only point I wanted to make is that when we're talking about a doom and gloom situation, I just feel sad for the idea that someone might misassess if it applies to them directly or not. And, you know, I'm not trying to undermine the situation, just that misassessment. Because here's my own story, right? When I lost my job, and I got that paycheck that one day, like, something really changed in my mind. I saw the number. It was the biggest paycheck I had ever got. It was like 2.5 times what I'd normally get, because it was my last paycheck. And I think you get like back paid, so you're getting, when you get paid for like work you did like a month ago. And I think you got paid every week. So when I got fired, it just all got lumped together. They're like, here's all the money you owe you, clear off. And, you know, like, my first instinct was like payday, you know, and then I saw the number and I thought I'd be like, oh yeah, look how much I got. But immediately my brain was like, and there's no more coming in. And we were on our way to a party as well, and I was probably going to buy a load of booze or whatever, and that completely changed. I remember not enjoying that party, just thinking about the paycheck a lot. And that's when I started to save. Now, I was grown up being told that there is a housing crisis, okay? If you think there is one today, it's been talked about for a long time. They were saying there were a housing crisis, you know, decades ago, when I was a young'un, right? Trying to make my way in the world or whatever. And so I thought, you know, no way I'll ever afford a house. I had just this doom and gloom attitude of like, this won't ever happen. So I didn't really care or think about it. But when I got that last paycheck, I just started saving up. And not to buy a house, literally just because I realized, like, my circumstance can change. I can lose a job, and then I don't know where the next paycheck is coming from. And so it made my attitude towards money very different. Then all of a sudden I stopped, buying movies, drugs, all sorts of things. It contributed to me changing a lot of my habits, the way I treated money, and so I would, want to put it in a bank account, and ones that give you interest on your savings and whatnot. And then after the years roll by, like it's turning into a considerable lump of cash, and we're talking like it took like 7 or 8 years, and then eventually I started to feel like a little more confident about maybe I could afford this. And by the time I actually had the decision to pull the trigger, because I was so scared about not being able to pay the mortgage and getting into more financial trouble. By the time I did it, I kind of realized I probably could have done it like 2 or 3 years earlier. Now, when I have said that story in the past, people have been like, oh, well, it was different for you, and it's not like that now, it's more difficult. My story isn't a commentary on everyone's situation, it's a commentary on my own and how I didn't understand the actual reality and what was possible. And so my defeatist attitude of thinking that, I'd never afford a house actually just meant that I got one later. If I didn't have that attitude when I had my first job and I'd started saving then in the years that I had that one, I could have moved out even sooner. Now that won't apply to everyone, and I'm not trying to undermine anyone's situation. It just worries me that others might be in a similar boat where it's like you think this affects you in the same way it affects people who are worst affected by it, and it might hold you back from getting what you want. Anyway, I'm gonna end it there. I read lots of the comments, and I realised that my communication was not good enough, and so I decided to private the video, and I figured maybe I'll come back to it at another point. By the way, while I've been waffling, we've had loads of subs and sub bombs. I'm so sorry. Right, let's start with gifted subs. We always appreciate that. Bell Steven, Curls of Doom, The Arctic Viking, thank you so much for gifting subs to our wonderful community here. If you hear your name being read out loud, be sure to say thanks. In the chat, we got Riff Raff, Chipmunk, Nagashadow, Zunzit, Rarus, The Puka, Dole Labour, Lostakoi Found, Splash Moon, Dunkotane, Vasily99, Harviti2, The Idiot Stumpman, Mad HMPF, Dum Dum Mister, and Seance. Y'all been gifted subs, be sure to say thanks. In the chat, we've got Ed Network here for 70 months. Incredible. Ren's Cold Sun for 28. Betty Baghdaddy for 49. Sir Firelord gifted a sub to Surprise T. I missed that one there. Thank you for that. And also one to Floyne as well. Thank you so much for gifting more subs, my dude. We've got Lobstron Amosity. Gosh. I think I've always said Lobster Monstrosity, but it's like Lobstro Monstrosity. Oh, jeez, I can't even. This name's too difficult for my little brain. What's with the silent X in Xisuma? Oh, you can say Xisuma if you want to. It's a made-up name. Daniel, 7101, 46 months. It's called The Art of War. How come there are no drawings? That's a good one. I like that. That's okay. Okay, that's great. You just gave me an awesome idea. Okay, that's cool. I enjoy the conversations you have with the community. It makes one think about life. Yeah, I think thinking about life is good as well, right? Like, if you don't think about life, you'll be on autopilot. If you think about it, you might be like, hey, I'm about to crash into a wall. God, who let this autopilot thing on? Oh, that wall. I've crashed into that many times. Goodness me. The old autopilot wall. Yeah, we're not going to do this mining stuff forever. We're going to do like a bit of a variety of things today. We're being visited by an Enderman as well. I would also like to pick this up with the old silky touch. Very nice, very nice. And down we go. Ah! Smack my face into a wall. Cool, we're all caught up on the noises in the ear. What about the comments? I think there is a big difference between telling that everyone can start saving no matter how little, and everyone can afford a house if they start saving. I think that what got mixed up about what you were trying to say. In the video, absolutely yes, and hopefully I've clarified now that like I'm not trying to say this applies to everyone. It's just we're aware of a problem, and sometimes you may misidentify if you are part of that problem. Saving up for a house seems very impossible for some people, and they can't even start imagining it in their current situation, but saving up very small amounts of time feels more doable. Yeah, so that's interesting, because like, how does it feel? Like, when you start with 0, it just looks impossible, right? And that's the way I felt. And when I started saving, it was only small amounts. So it didn't really like, it wasn't about like obtaining some big number for a deposit. It was just kind of about putting that aside because my situation had changed and I didn't know when I was getting paid next. And fortunately I landed, oh, actually, do you know what? I don't know, like the years go by and it's so foggy, but I did find work again that I enjoyed before long. But I don't actually know how long it was. I don't think it was a year. Let me think. I don't think it was that long. But I don't think it was straight away. I think it might have been like a few months, but it's all kind of foggy. I could, if I really cared to know, I could look out some old pay slips and then figure out like where it all started and ended. But you know, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that right now. Penelope Sky says, growing up, I can say that unless I get a very good job, I probably won't be able to afford to buy a house. I do want to buy a house, boat, or similar, so that's a goal. A houseboat, sweet. That sounds cool. Basically, what Carol Dweck is researching, the growth mindset within positive psychology, it's important to keep a positive outlook, says Carls. Positive and rational. To me, it's like rationality first and then respond to it positively. But yeah, like there's this weird like entanglement of success and positivity. It's like a feedback loop. So I feel like when you're trying to explain to someone like who hasn't got started on that feedback loop, it's like the two feed into each other. So if you're able to do the one when the other, if the other comes along, you know, like they aid one another. But honestly, like with the successes I've had in what I do, I can't help but feel like a large portion of it is just luck. It was just luck, you know. Sure, I chose to upload a video and made some good decisions to go put it in places where other people would start seeing it, and I hit the ground running on YouTube, but like never envisioned this being a career. I think all of that was just luck, you know. It's just like I got involved in something that turned out to be a really big thing, and I never had any thoughts that that was my intention. And so all of this really kind of blossomed out of something rather innocent, I guess. How was I ever to know it would turn into something like this? There was obviously a point in time where it became kind of clear. I'd say probably within the first year, actually. Like within maybe half a year, it started to look like, hey, something's happening here. This is different. Like we're in like this evolving YouTube space, and we're doing this thing that more and more people are coming to, right? But I think even then it wasn't thinking like, and I'll be doing it in 10 years. No, nothing like that. Who knows? My wife and I just brought our first home. It may be a mobile home, aka trailer house. It ain't much, but it's better than renting, says Dum Dum Mister. Yeah, it's a great way to get on the property ladder, as they say. You know, now you own something that's air quotes an asset, and you know, rent isn't as expensive as a mortgage in most situations, so you can afford hopefully to be able to save, and then you know when you do look for a bigger place in the future, it's like you've got the trailer and your savings to help, you know, to get there essentially. Because I always talk about like wanting to move somewhere else. I want to find like an air quotes dream home, you know. I don't dream of living in a mansion, but certainly something like with the wildlife and nature nearby. And one of the things about doing that is that the house you've already got is part of the payment for like where you want to live in the future, which is kind of weird, but you know, you own it and then it has value, resale value. And that can change, you know, like sometimes cities go through depressions and whatnot, and then housing prices depress, and it's all very uncertain. And I do believe there should be more stability in science in society. Some people think it should be more like individual responsibility, but I kind of feel like I said earlier, you know, rising boat lifts all tides. No, rising boat lifts all tides. Oh god. Ah, eternal goofball I am. My mega rich uncle just sold his dream house he's been renovating for the last 30 years and started renting a little farmhouse. It's a little hard to understand, to be honest, says the Thinky. Well, maybe they just realised that like they wanted to be near nature. Like, I quite early on developed a dissatisfaction for like materialism. Like, I kind of saw quite early on that like owning stuff wasn't really the answer. And so I've never desired to, like, you know, have a Porsche or something like that, right? Like, it doesn't mean anything to me really. Yeah, I don't have a fancy car. I barely drive my car at the moment, actually. I had the MOT done recently, and I don't know. I drive the car like once a month at best. I've gotten into a really good practice of doing all my shopping on my bike. So I'll cycle down to the shop once or twice a week and I can fit everything in the bags on the bike. And that just means not using petrol, not using the car. I enjoy the exercise, the outdoors, the fresh air. I mean, those things have more value to me than a Porsche. Getting a mortgage right now is difficult. I'm not entirely sure why most of the decision comes from your income rather than what you can afford. Like, if I can afford to pay 450 PCM on rent, surely I can pay it on mortgage repayments too, but that's not how they look at it. I imagine it's like a sort of risk assessment type thing. Like, sometimes, like, the thing with rent is that the property is there, it's owned by someone, and all you're doing is just handing over the money each month. Whereas when you're buying a house, like, the cost is the whole house on some level, right? Like, it's when you rent, you don't own anything, so you're just there and giving them money. Whereas when you're using a mortgage, it's like the cost of the whole house is factored in. So that's why it's harder to get a house than it is to rent, as I understand it. Enderman, always in the way. Now I can't get to my stuff. I left my stuff up there. Dang it. Let's go grab that. Rent is a housing as a service rather than housing as a product, says Vic. Yeah, I think you got it there. Like, you're paying for the service, but not for the product. So, like, think of some services you might use, you know. You go get your car washed, you're paying for the service, but you're not buying the car wash. So if you went, look, I wanna buy this car wash, and you know, every time I come and get my car washed, it's only, you know, a tenner. Why can't I pay that much? Like, well, you're buying the whole house. So they'll probably want more, or you know, they wanna take on less risk. Right, I think what I want to do is get it all the way down to that level there, and then we'll start on the next bit. Actually, that being said, it might make it a bit more of a pain to work on the ribcage. Let's move on, right? We've had our little discussion about housing. We'll talk about some other stuff yet. Last thing to say is that Curls says, what the growth mindset says is I can't afford something yet, instead of saying I'll never be able to afford something. Yes, yeah. Like, when you switch your thinking from your situation being absolute to realizing that it can change, then you're empowering yourself to be a part of that change. If that change happens or not, it certainly doesn't start with the defeatist attitude. Yeah, okay, so right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to leave Hermitcraft forever. I'm never coming back. I quit. No. Anyway, go on here. Have you seen Everything Everywhere All of the Time, says Dr. Shaggy. I really want to see that. So, this world is from Kaz of Xisuma Games channel. I might be oh, right, so I had an old world and then I downloaded the updated one. Right, that's why it looks different in here. So, this is the storage system that I'm going to build. I watched the tutorial like a long time ago. I think I was going to build this a couple of seasons ago. And so, like, I can't remember if there's specifics to setting it up or not, but we will probably end up using a schematic from Litematica because it's such a complicated build. So I figured what we could do today is actually prep the space for this. And then you get a little bit of a tutorial in the process. I think if we stand on top of this, we're on one corner. So if I open up Schematica and we go into the area selection, create a new selection, call it storage, configure this. So we move that to us, which it already is at. We need to turn on rendering as well. Then we fly to the opposite corner, which doesn't appear to have... Ah, look at that. It's down there. That's really odd. Sometimes that happens. So it looks like there's some stuff underneath. And this should be... Right there should be more than enough, right? So I stand here. And then we go to the area. No, that's not it. The area browser, configure, move to player. Now, something's gone wrong over here because, as you can see, the box is stuck down there. I encounter this every now and then, and I never really quite remember what the remedy is. Maybe... Normal. Oh! That's weird. I don't remember clicking on that at any point. There you go. I don't remember, like, clicking on that and... Yeah. Let's check everything's inside the box. So, when we make this into a schematic, we can get a materials list, which we could start prepping today. We could put one or two things in place. One thing I don't want to do is just copy this design. I'll probably switch some of this stuff over. In fact, I could probably do... I don't think I'm going to affect anything right here. Oh, there you go. Xisuma Games URL, bottom of the screen. If you want to go check out Kaz's videos. The guy's a wicked redstone engineer. So I think I can just rip out all of that and put in my own design a little later. I'll leave the glass blocks there, although I've got a feeling they're not necessary either. They don't look necessary, but that should give me some guidance. You've got a door to get to the back area. And then you've got this non-stackable. There's also some like additional things that I might need to build. So when we put this into the world, I think we're going to push it back a little bit. Oh, there's also... Ah, I wish I knew what this was then. I think this might be it with everything attached. Let's see if we can suss this out. Oh, this is... Yes, this is actually what I want, this one. Okay, right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to open up Schematica. And you can sort of shift the region... But I'll be shifting a part of the region, right? So now it's covering all of this. I mean, it's a fair bit bigger than it needs to be, and it's generally a good idea to take the time to just trim these down because they sort of fill up more visual space in your Minecraft world when you move things across. Also, taking messages from chat. Because I know some of y'all wanted to learn about this, so if anyone's got any questions, just looking at it, seems like most of you are happy just seeing what I'm doing. Damn, he got the storage system looking good, says A1 Hero Dude. This is not my storage system. Just want to make that clear. So I think that's the edge, alright? Yep. Then we want to get this edge over here next. So in we go again. Height should be the same. And then down at the bottom, we can definitely shimmy that up a fair few blocks. Yeah, there you go. Now we've got all of that in it. So that'll give us everything that we need. I'm just going to pull out my phone and just check the thumbnails of these videos, because they might give me an insight. So I've got some stuff bookmarked to watch. Yeah, that looks a fair bit like this thing. I think this has got everything like built into it. Yeah, I think this has got everything that I need built into it actually already. That system may be a bit complicated to me, says Max Hart. It's complicated to me as well. Like, I am building it sort of half understanding the concept. I still don't like fully understand how it sorts the items when like the filtering is done with like, I don't know, stacks. What was it again? It's like I can't remember where you look to find out, but basically there's like a filtering system somewhere where you put like one item each and this minecart goes around and susses it out. It might be that chest, there you go. So by having one item in here, it can actually filter those things into, you know, into the chest. Now I got a feeling it might have something to do with if an item can flow in, then it can flow out. But again, that in my head doesn't work. So I don't fully understand why this works, but it's pretty clever because you can have filters as big as these chests, right? So then all those items get put into here. And I wanted to do this nice and early in the season because it's such a powerful thing. Hey Xisuma, just want to thank you and the rest of the Hermitcraft server for the past 8 years of content. I started watching Hermitcraft modded series and I'm astounded to see how far the community has come. Excited to see what you guys do next. Thank you, my dude. I mean, season 9 is the next big thing, right? Rambling PJ, thank you for 25 months. Tier 3 right there. You know what tier 3 means, my dude? You get to join the Let's Play Minecraft Together server. You can head over to xisumavoid.com/get-whitelisted and hook up your account and get logged in straight away. Instant access for tier 3 subs. There is a big and growing community over there enjoying playing Minecraft together. The Kind Wizard, thank you for the Prime. Laron69, gifting a sub to the Irish King. Irish King, be sure to say thanks in the chat. We always appreciate the gifting of the subs. And the Danish dude is here for 4 months. Thank you, my dude. Yesterday, I went to a bakery, got myself a couple of bread rolls, and apricot Danish was the name of it. It looked like it had like 2 eggs, like egg yolks, like the yellow bit in the egg on top of it, but they were just apricots. I don't eat bread like as a consistent part of my diet, and it's a treat every now and then. And oh my goodness me, like bread is just so Moorish. I mean, this was some good freshly baked bread. You know, I had mustard, cheese, and meat in one. And the other one I had like beetroot and feta cheese. Oh, so nice. With some rocket salad as well. The minecart goes under the first chest with a non-full stack in the first slot. And all the other slots get filled. When an item flows in from the chest, a toggle gets triggered showing that's the right chest and puts one item back in the chest and unloads the rest into the main storage. I think I understood what you said. Sort of. So like, you'll send around up to 63 items of one type underneath, and therefore, oh, this is an interesting way of thinking about it. Therefore, the item that drops in will be that one, and then that's a way of telling the system It's this one right here, so go put that into storage, but also put one back, and it'll be the one... Ah, yeah. That's some serious cleverness, yeah. Okay, let me explain that again, just for anyone who still didn't get it, because now I can explain it a lot clearer. I think the idea is you send through a minecart, and it's got, like, items in it, right? But it'll only have one stack, and it won't be a full stack, right? So it'll be 63. 63 redstone from 1 to 63. When it goes under, the redstone will fall out of this chest into here, which it then has to detect that there's an extra item in here. I'm not sure quite how it would detect it, but there's probably some magic. And when it does, it then knows this is its destination because of that event. So then when it sends items over to storage, it also puts one back in here, if I understood it correctly. Yeah, and this has been built by a few of the hermits. I think Impulse has built this on a regular basis. So what we'll do now is go into here. We're going to do two things. We're going to save the schematic. I'm not sure I already had one called storage. No, I didn't. Then we'll go into Analyze Area and Write to File. This creates me a material list. You won't see it on the screen, but for example, I now know that there is 331 hoppers and 300 odd chests. So I need to start gathering those materials, right? What was the YouTube link again, says Lucaro? It is youtube.com/MazumaGames. Mazuma Games, yeah. Right. So now what we've got to do is go into Hermitcraft and load this up so that we can start clearing the space for it more than anything. Right, so one thing I want to do is hop in here and turn that one off. Come out, load a schematic. The schematic we'll load is the one we just created. It will probably now sort of be here, as you can see. So I kind of want to... Ooh, what rotation is it? Okay. Rotating these things is sometimes quite troublesome, or worrisome probably. I don't really recall having too many issues with it, but... I think that represents the end, so what we probably need to start off with is... Oh wait, where am I going? Schematic placements, down to the bottom, configure. We want to rotate like that, and then suss out where it went to, because it would have pivoted around somewhere. Okay, so now it's like over in this space. Yeah, essentially we want to like see a component of it in this area to then know which bit we're looking at. I think I have to bring it a ways out to me. What on earth are we looking at here? That's the top of the storage area. It's like the space we're looking in is just not quite big enough for us yet. I know I'm going to put it back here, so let's open up this space a bit and see if it will be big enough for us to suss out what we're doing. Hey, we got noises in the air. We got Pulse 1147 49 months. Joke of the month for Xisuma. What's the difference between a poorly dressed man on a unicycle and a well-dressed man on a bike? Attire. That's great. Happy Summer X, can we get a sweat rag update? I haven't been sweating that much. It's not quite there. It's not quite sweat season, but it'll be coming, and you'll get to hear all about that sweat rag. Yo, quality entertainment over here. Quality entertainment. But yeah, the sweat rag is real. Don't doubt it. That should be about an equal distance across either side, right? So I come stand here. Configure this thing. I need to enable looking at it first. Yeah, because we've got a bit of what is essentially the top of it on that side, but not on that side. And it's actually kind of like a bit awkward to keep it all in shot. So that pushed it away 1 block. I think now I can literally see some of the chests. Oh yeah, what I should have done is probably put like a reference point in somewhere, right? Like, oh, we go from like 2 wide to 1. Brilliant. Brilliant. Everyone's going to love that. Link Zezzy, thank you for 4 months. And we got a sub bomb here from JKL's 1998. What did I just do? What did I just do? Be sure to say thanks in the chat if you hear your name. Aurorus, Tevus, Kazi, Ender Daves, Cosmic Dancer, Inferius MC, Flaming Seagull, Regis Raider, Moth-like Habitus, Scottish Racer. Y'all been gifted subs. Y'all have been gifted subs. I think what we were looking at was this right here. So then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You've got to go 12 blocks away from that. And that means that we've actually lined it up pretty well. So 1, 2, 3. Schematic placements. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Let's just add an extra 3 blocks because I don't need it to like rub up right against the skeleton. So that's the shulker box depositing spot. Right, and now you can see like above and below we get some guidelines on where we're supposed to be digging out this space. So we can crack into it now. I think I might end up making this a little bit bigger overall. Let's just go all the way up there. And this is our life now. We dig holes. That's what we do around here. I might also, like, knock it down by 1 block. I don't know. Let's go for all of this right here too. Ow! Just got some gravel to the face. And more gravel. Oh, gosh. Send help. I'm trapped. Link Zizzy, thank you ever so much for gifting a sub to Lovely Bees. And Cene K, thank you ever so much for the Prime. Greatly appreciated. Hope y'all are enjoying the stream. Is this a multi-item per cheat sorter? Yeah, every time you cheat, it gives you a thing. I now realise you probably meant chest. And S is next to A. I thought you were subtly trying to imply that the storage system was cheaty. I'm thinking, oh, don't even go there. Yeah, look at that. Right, that's good. We know what we're doing. We're in the right spot. Just got to carve out all the space now. Right, new subject. The 36 chambers. Alright. Who's entered them? That's what I want to know. There's 36 of them. Have you entered all of them? Go. Now some of you are like, is Xisuma drunk? There's this show on Disney Plus. I'm actually not sure quite what it's called. American Saga? Or something like that. It's about the Wu-Tang Clan. I love the Wu-Tang Clan. I've been obsessed with that album since as long as I can remember. It was one of my like early records that I got as a teenager, and I became immediately obsessed with it. But it feels like a little bit of fate, because the other day my mate was messaging me saying, oh, I've been listening to 36 Chambers. I remember you used to go on about this like back in the day. And I went on to Disney yesterday to watch the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. And it isn't out yet. I put it on my calendar because I got a release date for it. Maybe it's like an America gets it a day early type thing. Or 2 days early, because apparently it comes out on Friday. So I log into Disney Plus to watch Obi-Wan Kenobi after a good day of getting stuff done and whatnot, and wanting to chill out and just watch something for the rest of it. And oh, apparently it was delayed. Oh, interesting. Well, delayed by 2 days, so not a major delay. Yeah, it was delayed to the 27th for everyone, I'm hearing in chat. Interesting. So they had to delay it for 2 days for some reason. That to me sounds like it might be like a minor thing, like maybe they learned about like something in it last minute that needs to be edited out and they've got to do a quick like, I don't know, I'm just completely speculating. Anyway, so there is on my Disney Plus recommendations the American Saga, the Wu-Tang story, or whatever it's called. Like I said, I didn't really take it in. I just sort of went Wu-Tang and, you know, jumped in. But yeah, like when I first heard about that, I kind of did that thing of like, oh, it'd be rubbish or whatever in my head, like as if I know what it's going to be like. You might as well watch something if you haven't seen it before. You got no idea what it's going to be like. Sort of assumed it was just not going to be good for some reason, which I don't know why I'd assume that. I think there's just a lot of things get turned into shows. When I was younger, there was like less access to things that you were interested in. So when there was a movie made about something or a TV show, it was like, oh wow, cool, I want to watch this, it's going to be great. But then almost everything has just become so much more accessible. I remember being obsessed with like Tupac and Biggie and like reading about it and researching online and like trying to find all this information and obscure documentaries that people have made and like learn those stories like inside out. The whole history of hip-hop is another fascinating one that I used to learn about. But then, you know, over time, like, they just become more and more accessible. Like, they keep making Netflix documentaries about this stuff. And to the point where it's like, oh look, a new Biggie and Tupac documentary. I won't bother, I know the story pretty well by now. So, like, these things that I'm interested have gone from being sort of rare and, like, little niches that you're into to sort of just being like really accessible, and sometimes some of the stories are just told over and over again, and so you don't tune in as much. And I guess maybe in my mind I kind of like put hearing that into that same sort of camp of like, oh, you know, it's like another thing about, you know, a hip-hop group or whatever. But then like the question should be, is it any good, right? Like, don't judge it before you've seen it. And the answer is, after watching 2 episodes, yeah, it's pretty darn good. It's so far it's got a little bit of the Wire vibe. It's kind of personal, more than you don't really like see a police perspective on anything, but you're learning about like the struggles that they come up with and like what was going on before it all came together. And like the first 2 episodes just really good. And they also like present the RZA in his basement working on his records, and you hear these like halfway there cuts of Wu-Tang songs. Now I don't know how like authentic those are, because the RZA made all the music to the show. I'm guessing he probably tried to like capture what he was creating back then, and it's so cool to hear like those early forms of the beats. You hear like Method Man rapping with Bring the Pain, and it's super fascinating because I love all this stuff, right? I love these songs. And I'm totally engrossed now. Scorin says, did you see the Biggie movie? Yeah, it's like, which one? Because there's been so many now. Like I said, growing up, it was so much like rarer, the stuff that you were interested in. Like especially with YouTube, you can just be interested in so much weird and niche stuff, and there's like a plethora of content, and it extends out to the big stuff like streaming platforms. Another one that I used to be really interested in was like serial killers, and hearing about people like Gacy and Ed Gein, and it was like a morbid fascination, really. You know, this stuff was so heinous, and it was just like really fascinating to read about. And used to like, you know, read obscure websites that had documented these things, and then occasionally you'd see like a TV show about it, and it would be super fascinating. Now you can go on Netflix, and there is just so much documentaries about them. It feels like every week there's a new like Making a Murderer type show, and it's like an oversaturation effect. Now I haven't watched them to know if they're good, but I kind of shed my interest in that stuff quite some time ago. It just started to feel like this is one of those things where like the more you hear about this stuff, it like affects your psychology and your mood. And so I just at some point or like lost interest. I mean, I still find it like really curious, like what the worst of humanity is. I'm also now much more curious about what the best of humanity is at the same time. But whatever you engage with, it does bring your mood down. It does like affect you, and yeah, I don't like pay attention to that stuff anymore. So I haven't like watched it to really find out like where it's all at. What's the proper way in here now? I guess it's through the tunnels, right? Carl says, yeah, I'm keeping away from such documentaries. I don't want to engage with that kind of content. Yeah, it's difficult, right? Like, it does affect you. I used to probably think... I had a much more, like, misanthropic mindset when I was younger. You know, screw everything, society's rubbish, all this kind of stuff. So, no doubt I would not think twice about watching something like that. But, yeah, I don't watch it anymore, but I see it all the time on Netflix. It's a similar phenomenon. It's like, oh yeah, I know these stories. I've heard them like so much, and they're still talking about them. And the thing is, you know, new generations are going to come along, and they want to tell all these stories to the new generation, right? So it keeps on going. But yeah, anyway, so that's like, that was my like, when I heard that they were making a Wu-Tang show, that was kind of like my knee-jerk reaction. It was like, oh, another thing? And then now that I've actually watched it, I'm like, oh, but it's really good. It is really, really good. Resting Griffin, thank you so much for 29 months of support. Greatly appreciated, my dude. Thank you for subscribing. Yeah, listening and watching things like that makes me so anxious I can't get into it anymore, says Kalia. I'm probably butchering your name. Yeah, that's it. Like, it gives you those bad vibes. It doesn't make me... anxious is not the word I'd use. Like, you know, however you feel is fine. For me, it's... I don't feel, I guess, in the moment anything too negative. I just kind of know if I keep taking this in, it will get in, like, on the subconscious level, right? That's why I like listening to learny content, nerdy stuff about science and what the latest things are happening in the world. And like, I just like listening to more positive things. I did listen to a book about the history of slavery today, though, which was like really quite heavy to listen to. That's again like another thing where I like grew up again watching lots of documentaries and learning about institutional racism in America and the way the prison system is over there and how it disproportionately affects certain communities and whatnot. And like that's like another like negative thing that at some point you like kind of get a bit exhausted with. It's like difficult to keep engaging with like the darker topics. It's just how the cycle of life works. Older people think it's overdone, but it might be the first exposure for a young audience. It's always fascinating to witness people discover things for the first time, says Leonard. Yeah, really great insight there. That's very true. You know, I'm glad that young people will be able to discover, you know, Tupac and Biggie and all these cool things that have happened in culture and history. And it's good that people do keep making that content. The only thing I'd add to what you say is that there is definitely physically more of it now. Just the society's general growth, like economically, kind of manifests into like the availability of these things. Like once it was VHS tapes and, you know, cable network, and then it was like internet videos and DVDs, and now it's like streaming platforms and, you know, an ungodly amount of content on YouTube. So like the volume has definitely increased. The only thing I hope with that is that like the quality remains, like the good stuff still gets through, but you know, that'll generally I think things do get better, and the quality of like the documentaries are probably, I mean, like if you're gonna watch a documentary about Tupac and Biggie, you're probably gonna find that like a lot of that content will be built on top of the previous documentaries, right? Like the people making them want to tell the story again, and then the previous information informs the next. So they're probably pretty good, but knowing those stories inside out, it's just like a bit of I guess like fatigue or whatever. You know those stories, right? 98 Harold, thank you ever so much for your Prime subscription. Greatly appreciated, my dude. Hope you're enjoying the stream we're doing here today. Personal opinion, but 95% of stuff put out nowadays, especially by Netflix and other similar services, are garbage, says Russ Tree. Yeah, I'd just say that this is a pretty poor take just to throw 95% and then say it's all garbage. Like, you're... Oh, I need to drink some water. You have a subjective experience of this content, and, you know, just to throw out a statement that it's all garbage is just... You know, how does that help anyone? What does that do? I really wish I could just disable that beacon beam temporarily. Temporarily. Actually, that's where we're going. We might as well drop in here. Oh, I think I missed my stop. Oh, I missed it again. Dang. No, it's not where I want to go. Oh. Freezing. Getting frozen. No thanks. I'm now quite aware that we turned this down. Anyway, who loves the Wu-Tang Clan? Come on. And if you don't know about the Wu-Tang Clan, oh, go listen to the 36 Chambers. Classic. I mean, the best hip-hop record of all time is Illmatic, but like, maybe second best is 36 Chambers. It's so good. I listened to it again today when I was working out, and I'm just like, it never gets old. It's just got so much energy, so much character. It's such a great record. And yeah, and the show's really good. It also made me think, I'm not really sure that I've actually like learned that much about their backstory before. It all seemed kind of new to me. There's other backstories in hip hop that I know quite well, but maybe not theirs. Ooh, there's some green blocks over here. Oh, speaking of green blocks, I'll take that. I can hear skeletons and stuff ruffling their bones. They're trying to seek me out, but they won't find me. OBD's Return to the 36 Chambers is my favourite, says Graganoots. I never got too deep into that one. You know, like, a lot of this stuff I explored when I was younger, and I had not quite the mindset to really give stuff a proper go. It's like, if it didn't like impress me straight away, I probably wouldn't stick around for long. I need to get into that one, you know. But my favourite Wu-Tang like adjacent records are probably Only Built for Cuban Links. Oh man, what was the other one? Liquid Swords, and then maybe Iron Man. What does the green block mean? The green block is actually just the colour of the block, I think, that's supposed to be placed there. So, yeah, I don't think it has meaning so much. Right, let's crack on with digging stuff out. You owe it to yourself to give it a second chance is amazing. Absolutely, yeah. I think at some point during watching this show, I'll put it on my playlist. My playlist is pretty full at the moment, and oh my goodness me, I found this band called Kuros, right? It came on at random. I was trying to think of like, I was like, Spotify, give me something a little different, and I typed in progressive synth, and it gave me this like playlist with like Genesis and Rush on it, but also some new stuff too. So it was like prog rock, but the more synthy oriented songs. And this band called Kuros comes on, and I think the song is called Reverse Rewind or something like that. And oh my god, like every now and then you find songs that you just like can't stop listening to, and it's really weird because it's got like a dubstep breakdown in it, but like somehow they do it just about right. And yeah, I've been kind of like obsessed with that. And then I was listening to more of their songs, and then on shuffle comes on a cover of Devin Townsend's The Fluke, and it's really good cover, and I'm just like, yeah, this is like, it's like a new obsession for me, this band. Like, if they've got more songs like that one, I love it when you really get obsessed with a song. And like, you can just listen to it over and over again, it's so good. So yeah, I've been listening to that. You typed in what? Progressive synth. So you have progressive rock, and then bands like Genesis kind of like moved heavily into synth territory along the way. By synth, I'm talking, you know, late 70s, and then through the 80s you have synthesizers, which are like, you know, keyboard-controlled electronic tones. They become very popular, and Genesis, for example, move into that space, especially Phil Collins writing a lot of songs less with rock and guitar and more with synthesizers, right? But there's also been a bit like of a couple of artists I've heard that sort of sound like a bit of a modernized take on it, where it's like they're doing the prog rock thing, but everything is done with synthesizers. But actually, if you think about it, like it probably is like an 80s extension of prog rock. As I learned, Rush do some similar things with some of their music too. Do you listen to math rock? Not directly, but I've heard a lot of math rock and like math metal, and yeah, like I like Meshuggah, and then I like all those crazy bands that do really odd technical stuff. Or I remember listening to this song where like every note was like sequenced to pi, the number pi. Like I'm aware of that world, and I don't get like massively pulled into it, but it's super interesting. There's math rock, says Leonard. Yep, there's math rock is a legit thing. Like it's you know, chaotic, wild, like sporadic sounding music, but it's often got its roots in playing around with rhythm and timing through use of like maths and numbers and stuff. It's super interesting. What about pirate metal? Ailstorm are great. Yeah, there's like a couple of pirate metal acts that I enjoy, but not one of those ones I got majorly into or anything. Math rock sounds to me like a fancy fossil name. We're talking music genres here. It's totally legit. I can't think about Genesis remembering that Phil Collins had a reverse mohawk. Did he? That sounds like a terrible haircut for him. Reverse mohawk. That just sounds like someone pranked you with some clippers. That's what that is. Pirate metal, tell me more, says Max Hart. So, like, in the European, Scandinavian scene of metal in the 90s, like, metal's fascinating. You have, like, you know, classic heavy metal, doom metal stuff like Black Sabbath. While we have a music waffle, I'm going to switch to standing. And then in the 80s, you get, like, this evolution of speed and thrash metal where things get faster and more furious. And to me, like, I think thrash metal is probably the most important metal genre in terms of like opening everything up, because after thrash metal you get black metal, you get death metal, the European scene starts going in all sorts of different directions, prog metal, stuff with synthesizers and orchestras, and crossover with metal and hardcore. It all just kind of blooms and it erupts after thrash metal. So pirate metal is kind of like probably born out of the more European eccentric scene, where there's like a lot of theatrical kind of symphonic metal, and you know, basically just embracing like a pirate-like attitude, you know, yar matey, and that the sort of attitude that might be conjured of the more how could you say, like, friendly depiction of pirates. Like, there's a more cartoonish, friendly depiction of pirates, and then, like, if you learn about actual piratism or whatever from that era, it's like a pretty grim lifestyle, like lots of injury and losing limbs and all that kind of stuff. Like, there's a reason you see a pirate with a peg leg. It's like a common thing. Scurvy and all of that. Where does nu metal fall into then, says B8 HE? Great question. So after thrash metal, you also get like this thing called groove metal. Happens around, you know, kind of like pre-Nirvana, but like that explosion of grunge and alternative metal. You also have groove metal with bands like Pantera and Machine Head, like, you know, hard-hitting, next thing on from thrash, where it's not all about going fast, it's about hitting that feeling of groove, right? Bouncy riffs. And, you know, after that kind of kicks off in 1994, Korn come along, and they pretty much throw down the template for a new sound of metal, which is nu metal. You know, they kind of came out of nowhere with like a different approach to rhythm. It was sort of a bit off the back of groove metal, but like kind of mixed in some of that angsty, vulnerable frontman attitude that like Nirvana brought, because frontmen in metal, way more like macho type thing before Korn come along, right? And that's like aided a bit probably from Nirvana and the alternative metal and grunge scene. A Short Hobbit says, I just like the good old stuff like Iron Maiden. I personally love it all. Like I just want to get into it, and metal is just one of like the most appealing things to me. Wait, what did I... Oh yeah, torches. Torches. I came back here for... Are there even any in there? There are. We're running out of torches. Any thoughts on post-rock, says Dragon Out? It's one of those ones that, like... I get what it is. I haven't been massively into it, but I like certain incarnations of it. And I like its influence on post-metal, where it's, you know, post-rock, but metallic. But I've listened to that supposedly like best ever post-rock album, the Raise Your Skinny Antennas or whatever it's called, Into the Sky. I didn't really get too big into that one. Forget the name of that record. I love old school black metal. Attended a Mayhem concert this month, but I also love heavy metal. I will go see Judas Priest in June and Iron Maiden in July, says Armageddon. Cool. Yeah, like old school black metal, Mayhem, that's like second wave, right? Like there's a really interesting series of bands that were sort of called black metal before the Norwegians sort of reinvented it. And to be honest, I've never been that massively into them, but Bathory, I must have been a couple of years now. I remember season 7 of Hermitcraft, like working in the Nether, so it would have been the Nether update of Minecraft. And, you know, I'm doing my Nether projects, and when I make my Hermitcraft episodes, I'm usually listening to some music, and I decided to, like, go through all the old Bathory records, and that was just so much fun. Ghost Char says, how do you feel about the Gent? I love Meshuggah and everything they've done. I do feel like the Gent sound has become heavily, like, saturated. This sort of mix of kind of Linkin Park, Bring Me the Horizon pop metal, like mixed with these big fat disjunct guitars. It just feels like every new popping band is kind of sounding like that these days. I think my favourite artist isn't metal but electronic. Oh, you mean genre. The one artist I've been following for many years, Approaching Nirvana, found it through Hermitcraft but never hear about it outside of that. Yeah, I remember Approaching Nirvana. That was Doc M used to play their music a lot, I think, in the videos. That was like right back at the beginning, my dude. Jeez, you must have been around since like season 1 of Hermitcraft. I just totally don't get black metal. It's so varied, but I can't find any of it that I like, says the Thinky. Go to my music blog and have a look at some of the black metal stuff I've reviewed. Maybe like... I always find that like hearing someone else be enthusiastic about something sometimes helps you in. Like, you've probably tried these records, but In the Nightside Eclipse and The Mysterious Dom Sathanas are just like incredible records. The thing with black metal is like, it's like evil as theatre, and like how far can evil go as theatre? And like I find something like also deeply like mysterious and interesting in that like darkness that they portray. And yeah, just that whole world. It's like a fantasy world, but incredibly like dark and mysterious and weird, and that just like totally does it for me. Approaching Nirvana is royalty-free music, innit? Says the Thinky. I don't know that it is royalty-free, because a lot of stuff from back then was just sort of done on a, oh, you can use my music in your video type basis, right? And then having people do like bait and switch and going through like copyright issues over the years with YouTube's changing copyright infrastructure for music. Like, you learn more about how that stuff works. I mean, I already kind of knew how royalty-free worked. Like, getting a royalty-free license probably doesn't mean what you think it does. It means you don't have to pay royalties, but that doesn't necessarily apply to monetization. It's more of an attribution thing. And yeah, like Mumbo got hit with it. It was one of the things that caused me to stop using Byrocratic's music, is that I wasn't sure that these samples were cleared, right? Like, and it happened to Mumbo. So Mumbo asked the artist, and the artist said sure, but the artist didn't clear the samples that they were using, and so yeah, that got him into trouble, unfortunately. So yeah, be careful. The best license you can look for if you want to use music is Creative Commons 4.0, but I used some Creative Commons music in the past that got bait and switched. They just changed the license and the record label changed it, which is illegal. But, you know, like, unless you're going to take a lawsuit to them, you know, some indie artist on the internet changing their license agreement with people they've told they can use their music and whatnot, it's just something that they'll get away with, right? Like, it happens. 98 Harold, thank you ever so much for the Prime, by the way. I've been waffling so much, I totally missed that one. I watch a reviewer called Mike Seatown who is obsessed with black metal even more than you are. Oh, they probably would be, because my obsession is old. Like, I don't really listen to a lot of black metal these days. I listen to the new Blatt Os Nord record, if I'm saying that, or remembering it correctly. That was a lot of fun, but I kind of like wanted to hear their sound. It wasn't very different from their last couple of records. Yeah, I don't really listen to a lot of that these days. Like, again, it's music that, you know, is dark and challenging and whatnot, and as much as I like it, it has that subtle effect on you, and I just tend to like gravitate to more positive feeling music, I guess, maybe. Curdle Milk says, Dark Throne's A Blaze in the Northern Sky is a good record if you want to try some black metal. I feel like with Dark Throne you have to listen to like all three of those records, the Black Trinity as they call it, because like A Blaze in the Northern Sky is kind of like a little flawed in like a really great way, like a little primitive. The way they approach like the darkness. There's a lot of groove in that record and like head-banging riffs, and then in the next record they really like lean so hard into the lo-fi, and then on the third record they just take that like to another level. That's a really interesting little collection of records. What are your thoughts on some of the more pop-based metal, like newer Linkin Park, MCR, and Neck Deep to some extent? I absolutely loved Linkin Park growing up. They killed it, and they were so good. And I remember at school, it was like one of those bands that just everyone loved, Linkin Park, and their legacy of that first record is just incredible. But like, the thing is, a lot of bands that are popular in metal are sort of taking what they did and doing it again in like a newer way. And that to me hasn't been particularly interesting. Like when someone like does that but also takes it to the next level or finds something new, that's great. But like a lot of the bands, it feels like, are just sort of working on that template and like not really doing too much new with it. And the other thing in metal, like these days, like back in the day, I used to be the one like all over the metal, right? Like anything, you know, going on, I'd heard of it. These days it's like my friends are now the ones who are like on the cutting edge of metal, if you like. And I was talking to my mate and he was showing me like some of the stuff he listens to, like Lunar Shore, and I can't get excited about it because it just feels like this is like sort of everything we listened to over the last 10 years like rolled into one. You can just hear so many influences on Lunar Shore, from like Dimmu to like deathcore and hardcore stuff, and like, as impressive as it is, I've just heard so much of it that I don't get excited about it. I kind of want to hear sounds that like, ooh, what's that, you know? And I don't get that from them. It's like, oh, that's that band. Oh, I can hear Lamb of God here. I can hear, you know, the deathcore scene going on. Like, just I listen to them and all I hear is other bands. Man, Linkin Park was built different, says Hims. Yeah, they totally came out of like nowhere. Just, the new metal era is so strange because like it was really like contentious at the time. Like the old guard of metal hated new metal, and then all the bands that sort of have come out of it and have like sustained a career and like are now like the big legacy bands of metal. You know, Iron Maiden, Metallica are still going along, of course, but like your System of a Down, Slipknot, God, God, there's more, but my brain's being slow. You know, these bands, they all came out of that nu metal era, but it's all the ones that were actually really good. You kind of listen back to and realize like they're not really part of that, with exception to Korn. They're not part of that nu metal formula. They're like all different from it in weird ways, yet they all were just around at that same time. Rammstein would be another one, right? Absolutely massive bands. Linkin Park probably were the most close to the nu metal template, perhaps, where they just did it so unbelievably well. Mudvayne was also popping off at the time, says Devron. Yeah, you see, Mudvayne would be, for me, an example of, like, the more generic sounding nu metal that hasn't stood the test of time. I like a few Mudvayne songs, but they are not a headlining band. They have not, like, sustained or become like a behemoth like Slipknot have, you know? It's funny, because, like, when I was enjoying Slipknot, like, when I was absolutely mad about them as a teenager, like, that level of obsession that I had with them makes sense that they would be that big now, because loads of people had that obsession with them. But at the time, it kind of just felt like no one would ever care this much about. Like, this band would never be that big, right? Yeah, I guess that reached a lot of people. Matsubu, thank you for 41 months, and Crayoleum, thank you for 14. Greatly appreciated. Hope you're enjoying the stream. Xisuma, have you looked into early industrial music like 70s, 80s at all? That's a really interesting genre. The Thinky, if ever you got stuff to send me in that area, I'd love to hear it, because I have, but I didn't get deep into it. Throbbing Gristle was the most interesting lineage in learning about early industrial music. And there's like a lot of like electro-industrial, notably in Canada. And yeah, bands that like informed the industrial metal sound that I like. I mean, I got started with that with like Godflesh and Street Cleaner, and I think like Ministry are one of the best industrial metal bands. Nine Inch Nails is another great one. And then like Marilyn Manson was industrial metal as well. All that stuff, absolutely great. But yeah, I never got like sucked into many particular industrial artists. Explored a little bit of the industrial rock sound that's like adjacent to it. But Throbbing Gristle, that was like the one thing that really caught my attention, because they were like very ideological. God, my brain can't spit the word out. They were driven by ideology, right? And the ideology was that every person was a musician, no matter what they knew about instruments. And they actually wanted to work with people who knew nothing about instruments and find out what sounds they can make with them, right? So there's just like this sort of weird approach of everything's an instrument and everyone's a musician. And so you had all this like clanky, weird music. And they had this one song, though, where it's like there's like this motif that gets just screamed over and over again, and you can go watch like live performances of it, and it's really quite powerful. They just sort of settle on this like one lyric and just drill into it over and over again. Throbbing Gristle, P Band J 2002. I'm not going to sell them as like the best thing you'll ever hear. It's more of like a curiosity listen. It's like right out the middle of punk music, and you could probably call it like proto-industrial. If anyone knows the name of that song, throw it in chat, because I think I might just go throw it on after. I could find it myself if I want to listen to it after the stream. Repetition legitimizes, says Andes. You know, that is a true psychological effect, though. Like, it's been studied, and, you know, like, if you want to put out a little bit of disinformation into the world, like, you repeat yourself enough. I mean, you can put out truth and repeat it over again, right? But people tend to, you know, believe things as true if they've just heard them more naturally. I mean, I'm not saying that like other people. I see it in myself. I keep an eye out for those illusions, right? They affect us all. I wanna know when I'm affected by my own shortcomings, and that's one of them that's been documented. You mean Throbbing Gristle's Discipline? It might be called Discipline, yeah. Reminds me of Experimental from the 70s, says Rafgar. They were absolutely an experimental 70s band. Sounds like Steve Reich. Would I be right? I don't know who Steve Reich is, but I listen to Steve Roach. There's a musician whose music I really adore. Like soundscapey, dreamy music. Ambient. Where can we find diamonds to mine now? I made a video about it. You should go watch it on my channel. On my YouTube channel. If I recall correctly, it's either minus 58 or 59. Go watch the video, you'll get all the science and understanding. Plus, there are different techniques for mining diamonds, and you can pick one that like works best for you. Wait, you have a YouTube? Says Hims. What do you mean I have a YouTube? Of course I got a YouTube. I got 4 YouTubes. Jeez, I'm a YouTuber, not a streamer. I just turn up on Twitch and hang out live with people sometimes. Gosh. Yeah, on my main channel, the first one, xisumavoid. If you're over here on Twitch, don't realise I'm on there. There's a good video explaining exactly where to get the diamonds from. And it offers you some insights on different ways you can mine it as well, because I like using the mole mining technique. It's fun. Plural YouTuber, literally, yeah. Him says, LeMayo, I know, just being goofy. Oh, God, where did you get that habit from, eh? Where did you get the idea that being goofy was okay? God. Right, let's get us some wood. Make some more chests. I'm impressed with how long it takes to mine out of space like this. I was going to do more this stream, by the way, but I guess digging out a big... God, this is going to be a massive storage system. Digging out a big hole, it takes up some resources. This pick has been beaten down again. Oh, it's depressed at this point. The Thinky says, I made a great post on Discord. Can I ping you to see it? Yeah, sure. I mean, here's the thing with, like, tagging me on Discord or whatever. Like, I don't mind getting tagged, but sometimes, like, it's like someone going, Xisuma, can we chat? Or, Xisuma, call me. And it's like, oh. You know, like, tag me if you know me well. If you watch these streams, you know what I'm into. I don't mind being tagged when it's, like, something that's relevant to me or that I'm interested in. That's cool, but like that requires you to use your best judgment, and depending on who you are, you know, some people's best judgment isn't that great. So like it's a general rule, don't ping. But you know, honestly, I'm not going to mind if it's relevant. Don't mind getting pinged at all. But you know, now that I say that, I might get pinged a whole bunch more for stuff that it isn't. But yeah, you know, y'all know what I do on the internet. You know what I like. If you're pretty convinced, hey, this is something X wants to see, then go for it. Right. There are other materials here. I guess we've been collecting the raw iron, which is fine. Let's make some of those, some of these. Do I got a place to chuck them? No, I don't. Valuables, that's where they'll go. Sweet! Cool, there we go. Right, we're going to go fly to the end portal again. I need to hook up a portal, don't I? I think someone gave me the idea of making portals up at the eyes, which I really feel like is probably the most interesting way to go about it, right? To put some portals back here. Ugh! Oh, had a feeling that might happen. Been pranked again, basically. Yeah, I don't know, like, or just put a portal in the area that I'm standing at. That would be the more boring way, wouldn't it? Can you make a video on how to use the replay mods as stones? Unfortunately, I don't really do those sorts of things. I do them... I mean, I would like to, but like you have to be productive with your time, and my time is, you know, chopped up for the various things that I do. Hermitcraft is the biggest time sink. It's like it can be a little bit bittersweet sometimes, because it's like I would love to do all these other things, but you know, I play on a survival Minecraft server, which basically means you put in the hours. Yeah, do you have a video about using Litematica? I don't. I did earlier this stream though, so like in the past I have made live streams where I used the replay mod, so it might be worth searching for that. Like if you wanted to learn Litematica, you could watch this live stream back and hopefully you'd pick up some tips. If you watch Joe, he will sometimes do replay editing and you can see it there, says Buggy Girl. Yeah, there you go. Like I could have, if I'd have thought in advance, I could have done a replay of me. Oh, I got rid of my ender pearls, did I? I could have done a replay of me like digging out this hole and then show you how to edit, but I didn't think so. I haven't done that, but Yeah, in the past I've done things like that. And the problem with making it into a tutorial is that, like, it takes a lot of planning and preparation. If I just do something live and casual, I can answer people's questions, I can hopefully give you some insights. But, you know, I'm not going to put out a very casual video on my channel because that would sort of be like low quality. So there's always like more inside like my head. There's like things I could tell you about or other things I want to do, and it's just, you know, that time management thing. And again, it's like Hermitcraft, believe me, is the biggest barrier. It just takes up so much time. Let's now... Oh, I'm glad I got my toolbox, because sword be useful. I could do with making this into a netherite pick, right? It'll probably be the day I finish using it that it gets upgraded. Because that's how I roll, right? Jithin says, have I ever done a face reveal video? Yeah, on my second channel. It's a very popular video over there. Don't know why. Don't know why people want to look at my face. It's not very interesting. It sort of looks like... it kind of looks like... You know, like, imagine you just, like, walked into a crowd of people and looked at someone's face. Just like that. You're like, oh, look, there's a face. Did you sort your laptop out, Expert Potato? Yeah, so what I discovered is that the hardware of the laptop, I believe, prevents me from using a password because it always detects the TPM and I can't disable it. So I thought, well, I'll just try Windows 11 then. And I've got Windows 11 installed on it again. And I figured, you know, you're going to have to get used to it at some point, right? Although there is that thought that maybe Windows 12 or 13 or whatever it is going to be the next go-to version. But I don't know when that is, actually. Like, not a clue. And I'm not sure if they're going to take the approach of keeping, like, Windows 11 going for 10 years like they did with Windows 10. I don't know how long Windows 10 was actually out for. Was it about 10 years? Anyway, like, I was just sort of like, you know what, I'll go on then, I'll do this Windows 11 thing. So what I should be able to do with Windows 11 is get it to operate off of a pin, and then you can enable the pin to basically be a password, right? Rather than just a few numbers, you can make it like more characters and whatnot, and put a long password into it. And if that doesn't work, then I've just wasted a bunch more time again, but, you know. It kind of occurs to me that maybe I could have figured out how to disable the TPM on the motherboard, but when I was messing around with those settings last time, it felt like every time I booted it up, it would just like re-enable the TPM, so I could have missed something there, but whatever. I highly recommend using Stardock's Start 11 software to make Windows 11 more usable, says Deku Sapling. I don't know what that is, but one thing I'm not a fan of using, they're probably better than they were in the past, but any stuff that like gets in and rips out start menus and customizes stuff on that level, in the past I found you'd like run into issues like and compatibility problems, and maybe that's more of a, you know, they were immature back then and now they're much better, but I've watched some videos on YouTube about like bloatware and what to change in Windows 11 and stuff, and I see these like custom programs that can change the start menu and stuff, and I'm kind of wary of using those from previous experiences, right? Oh, look at that. That's how we're going to be navigating our base in the future, just like that, swooping on in. So yeah, I don't know if that's one of those programs, but I am going to avoid those pretty much at all cost. If I do change anything, I'll do it using Registry Edit or Group Policy Editor, because I don't mind making changes that way. Windows 11 and 12th gen CPUs will run very well together, much better than Windows 10. It's Matsubu. I'm not sure what generation I have. It's an i7. I think it's like an i7 with a 10 number after it, or a 12. That's a good point. Because, as I understand it, the i579 is sort of, and i3, is sort of like a performance grade, and then the numbers that follow it relate to the generation, right? I wonder if I could find that out quickly while I'm streaming. I mean, just so y'all know, I can find out after easy enough. I'm going to have a quick look. Let's see if I've got it. If it's accessible. The number after the model is the gen. Okay, let's go find out then. So... Dang, I've had a lot of emails this last week. It might be that email. Okay, let's try. No, I don't think they put the details of the order into there. I will check that out after the stream, though. I'll kind of want to find out now, but I'll make a note. Yeah, it was either a 10 or a 12, I think. So I might have a 12th generation one. I have an i3 417, so mine is generation 4. That's quite some time ago, that. I know my PC is a 9th generation because I got the i9000 or whatever. Oh, that's what Lucro just typed in chat. I think I can bring it up right now. Yeah, i9900K. Yeah. And I can't really upgrade that on the motherboard. There's like one that's like fractionally better. You know, I get like not even 0.5% better performance or something. So I kind of brought that one knowing that I couldn't like upgrade the GPU later on, or CPU, which is something I seem to remember being a bit more accessible in the past, but these days it feels like they gear all the architecture and stuff, so you're like, you got to get a whole new rig. You can't just chuck a new CPU in there. Properties of my computer, says Dandelion Pants. Oh, I guess I could do it that way, couldn't I? Yeah. I was going to just log into my account and see what my order was, but yeah, I could do that. Yeah, it was either, like I said, a 10 or a 12. And now you're going to have me thinking I probably should have picked the 12 if that were an option. But Potato says, regarding sorting the laptop, I meant that you were talking about getting a new one. Oh, I'm just continuing my conversation from last live stream. So I've got a new laptop and I'm trying to set it up with password protected encryption, which is my preferred way of doing things because I don't trust those Windows logins. In fact, when I was researching how to do it, I found, again, familiar discussion from people saying like they also wanted the password protection because Windows's own account protection is notoriously bad. Don't know if it still is, but they were saying it. They were saying it on the internet, and that means it's right? Oh, I thought, oh yeah, this darkness is a cave. I was like, where's that cave? I wouldn't mind getting... Actually, I don't really need to get rid of all the water. I don't know how close we are to the sphere, to be honest. No sign of the sphere. And I don't really need to light up every little bit, right? But it helps. Let's see, there's baddies hanging out. No! Leave me alone, butt kicker. At least in the immediate vicinity of our storage area, we're going to have some protected space. Oh, butt kicker! Oh! Get wrecked by the creeper. Yeah, that's much better, isn't it? And then where's the way down? It's over here. Swoop. Swoop-de-whoop. I got a feeling this room needs to go a little bit higher. But how much? Well, actually, the schematic will tell us. It looks like it's about 2 blocks, so we probably want to go 3 blocks higher. Not that one. Let's throw an ender pearl up into that space. There's also heal and eat and all that stuff. Sphere is such a good movie though, says Curls. Oh my god, that movie. I like it. Being a bit fatigued on the old movies, I'm not sure if that's one oh my god! I'd actually pick to watch. Cool, another spawner. I found so many of these, but that kind of makes sense, right? Ah! Oh, dear lord, give me a break. Yeah, Sphere's one of those ones, I probably watched it like 4 or 5 times. And I don't know if I'll rewatch it again, but it is a classic. Like once you know, even though the atmosphere is great and everything, once you know what it's about, it's like... You rewatched it after I mentioned it and the writing is so amazing. And I guess you get that like renewed perspective as you get older when you watch a movie. You tend to like notice different things like cinematography and stuff. Yeah, Samuel Jackson really kind of puts in a great performance on that movie. Like I feel, if I remember it correctly, he's like the key component in like the paranoia really being sold well. Right, so if we do it like this, we'll put in like a new roof. That being said, do I have a need to maybe stand like, what if I need to stand on, okay, let's go 1 block higher. If I need to stand on top of this space, then we need it to be 1 block higher. So we're going to go like that and then put smooth stone above us. And then we'll rip out the floor once we've got all of that in, right? Once we know that the roof's good. CJ Gibbons, 88, thank you for 27 months of support, my dude. Greatly appreciated. Hope you're entertained, enjoying the stream, having a good time, all that good stuff. Thank you for the subscription. The Thinky says, I've been noticing cinematography so much more in movies recently. I've eventually worked out that it was from spending so much time on photography and screenshot art. Yeah, you develop a natural eye for it, right? Like for me, as a video editor, a content creator, like when I watch other people's videos, I have like a much more, like I have a feeling of how it's put together, like in my mind. Like, oh, I see what you did there, and think more about like the structure of videos and stuff like that because of it. Right, yeah, what did I say we need? Smooth stone? There's like a little bit of it in here. It's mostly cobble that's been wrangled away over here. I'm probably going to have loads of smooth stone in one of these, and what would you know? There it is. Yeah, we're going to that height now, is the idea. Off with ya. There we go. Sweet. Do you do the same when watching other streams, says Green Mazing? No, I don't really watch streams. I'm not really into it. I don't mind streaming myself, but I don't spend time watching people stream. I mean, there's probably like loads of cool stuff going on out there. It's just I'm kind of sucked into different spaces with my time. What does your screen look like? Well, I've got 3 screens. The one in the middle's got, you know, the game on it. The one on the left's got my mods and my notifications. The one on the right has got a preview of the stream, my dashboard, and then chat. You're one of the few HC members I regularly see using ender pearls. Yeah, they've kind of gone out of fashion with the Elytra and the rocket, right? But they're pretty good for just like getting you from like A to B sometimes, right? You don't always have to fly everywhere. Especially in smaller spaces, it can be a bit of a pain. So much information to take in at once, I'm not sure if I could handle it. If you're referring to like the layout of stuff, it's not that much, because like not all of it is like constantly whirling away with new information. Plus I tend to just talk and play, right? And then occasionally look at my chat and realise that everyone's talking about something else. Do you not use a streaming PC? No, I don't. I consider that to be pretty wasteful. I like to keep my computer off as much as I can. And I wouldn't consider really using another rig just to get slightly better streaming performance. Right? It's one of those things that I don't think the value of streaming content comes from fidelity of it. What am I doing here? That's not how this bit works. The value of like streaming is what are we doing in the game and what are we talking about most of the time. Like, you'd probably be happy with watching this if it were at 720p, right? Like, I doubt anyone tunes in and goes, 1080p, oh, I can't watch this. Oh, that resolution isn't big enough for me. Like, you know, I really enjoyed that stream the other night. Oh, did you see it? It was in 1080p. Oh my goodness me, it was so crisp clear. Like, that conversation I'm pretty sure doesn't really happen. The value of the content is in all the other stuff. Obviously, with some communities it's different. Like maybe if you're playing FPS, kind of like high-octane action games, maybe there is a level of fidelity that aids the content. But Otherwise, I'm pretty sure, like here, with what we're doing, y'all are not tuning in for those frames per second. I mean, you saw the Nether Hub. Okay, you saw the Nether Hub early today. People weren't like, 2 FPS, I'm out. That's it, I'm done. I can't watch this. I don't recall anyone saying that. Gosh. Video is less important than audio. Bad audio makes the content unwatchable, even if you have 4K 120fps. Audio, I think, yep. However, I am using a very cheap and old Logitech G330 microphone. Sometimes I think the emphasis on the microphone can be a bit overstated, but no, you're right. Audio quality can definitely be a bit much. That being said, like, there might be a little bit of charm in exploring low fidelity. Like, every now and then you'll hear someone play around with like talking over the radio type sound, right? With that like low fidelity radio microphone, but maybe some audio setups that are a bit more on the low fidelity side might sound interesting, might be kind of cool to hear a voice put through something a little different than what you're used to. But yeah, no, otherwise totally agreeing. Audio quality does need a level to it. The video quality, not so much. What is lo-fi? If lo-fi is audio, lo-fi is video, I guess. I mean, yeah, that's another thing. You could play around with that and like run it through like a VHS filter and give it that 90s aesthetic. Well, actually, Tango was saying, look, I finished all the stars in the Nether Hub and I couldn't see any whatsoever in my 240p. Yeah, let's not split the hairs too much here. Like, there's a difference between 240 and something a bit more reasonable, right? Like, once you're at 720p, you pretty much get the gist of what's going on, unless you need like a lot of technical, like a lot of visual fidelity. I don't know, maybe there's like a extravagant amount of detail or something. Yeah, there's like that level of passability somewhere, and I think you get that, you know, like at 720p. And maybe if you're younger, you can see it a bit better. I know that my eyes don't really see much beyond 1080. Like 4K just looks like 1080 to me. One thing I've noticed actually with streaming content like Netflix and stuff is that sometimes you like load up the stream and it'll just be like the internet connection isn't quite strong and the thing looks pretty rough, right? And then usually it gets going. But when you stream 4K or 1080p, your bandwidth might have a bigger say over like the image fidelity than just selecting 4K or 1080, right? I do think there's something to that. And yeah, so like sometimes you load up Netflix and it's like, this doesn't look so good, the connection isn't that great. Yeah, apparently I'm watching, you know, 4K streaming. Okay, here's... Oh! It went from interesting to oh god, that is too interesting. I was just going to comment on how interesting it is, but then it just got too interesting. Yikes. Okay, so to deal with that, we kind of maybe want to figure out where the edge is. The edge is here. Try and tear away a fair bit of that and then build out that new roof. Oh, this is going to be messy with all the water, isn't it? It's going to get messy around here. Get away from me, little guy! Get into the water and drown. Yeesh. Yeah, it doesn't look like it's going to be too big a part of this, actually. Right, so we know what we're doing next. We're fixing up this roof. No one likes underwater caves, says the fastest available route. I think there may be a little bit of an undeveloped feature in this game. You know, because when you discover them, they're usually like, do I have a water breathing potion? What can I find in here? Like, you're usually not particularly well set up to enjoy and explore them. But it should be said, they are cool. Maybe they need some sort of feature added to them. I'm not sure what that would be. Have I seen the new Sonic movie? No, I haven't. I don't plan on watching it either. Not my kind of movie, I imagine. What did I come back for? Stone. There you go. Gonna need a fair bit of it up there. I wish there was something special you could dive into for underwater caves. Yeah, that's it basically. Like, when you find them, you need to be like, oh, sweet, underwater cave. I can find this thing here, or like, you know. There definitely could be something that could be added. I feel like waterlogged caves are cool. Definitely isn't an issue from them being added where it's like, oh, they're missing something. But when you stop and think about it, it's like, yeah, actually, maybe they are missing something. Maybe there was something really cool that could have been done with this. Ah! Keep doing that. Oh look, we've got some weird quirky lighting bug over there. Right, so that is pretty much a roof on top of all of it. Now we need a sponge, I guess. Drown spawners, maybe. Nah, I don't think a drown spawner would be the right way to go. Because you can just get a zombie spawner and turn them into drowns and then farm them for copper, so... that kind of works. What do we want? A sponge? Sponge in the toolbox? Where's my useful blocks? Got one, and it's wet. Ugh. I don't have a nether portal nearby, so we need like a furnace. There's no furnaces in there. Okay, I'm gonna remedy that. Thank you. Oh, that didn't work. And then, where's some coal? Oh my god, X, you're wasting coal! Oh, you should have used sticks or bamboo. Oh god, you wasted it because the only one item. Oh. Shut up, you. God. I'll waste all of it. I really do need more sponges. There's certain activities I need to do. With, like, clearing out water, and it's like... when I did that raiding with Joe, it was like... this was supposed to sort me out, and it hasn't. I need more sponges than this. Oh, you're supposed to use the hoe! Use the hoe on the sponge, Xisuma! Use the hoe! How's my squeaky teenage voice going? Is it good? I think it needs a bit more work. It needs a bit of refining. Don't waste... oh, wait, there's that one, isn't there? Oh. Oh. That's the wrong button. Oh, God! What the... what's happening? Oh! Oh, hi! Hello there. How's it going? Whoa! This is very strange. Xisuma! Oh! Don't waste the coal! Okay, this isn't working. Oh, hello! Now I'm over there. Let's hear your dumbest voice. I think that was it. I don't know how to do a dumb voice. I just talk normally. No, that was not good enough. Let me out. No, it's all draining away. I need to get the sponge back. Oh, the flickering light level is destroying me. Gotcha, right. I feel pretty called out with your squeaky voice, says Garrett. Hey, if you've got a squeaky voice, it'll pass. Kel says, bruh. 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 It wouldn't be an extreme if he wasn't about... if he wouldn't shout at an invisible commenter judging him. Oh, it's not invisible. It's real and you know it. Now a deep, depressing voice. I feel like you're asking for this voice. Hello, YouTube. And welcome back to another Minecraft tutorial video. Right. Enough historical content for one day. That's the last of it. Oh wait, is it? It is. No! No entry will be allowed. Gotta keep this sucker out. Okay, okay. I think that'll do. Whoops. Right, yeah, okay, so building a roof. Next order of business. That was the best 2011 Xisuma impression I've ever heard. I've done a lot of them over the years. I don't know. It sounded pretty average to me. And hey, I should know. I was that guy. Ah, fell. It was painful. Oh, I see. It was trying to eat the rotted flesh. I don't want to eat the rotted flesh. Right, let's grab an ender pearl again. That was really weird. I'm like, water? We just got rid of all that. Computer game was like, just testing you. Rightio. What happened to change your voice, says Happy's. I kept talking for years and years and years. And subtly, slowly, with time. You wouldn't believe it, it changed. As if change is something that can actually happen. Gosh. Yeah, no, that's it. It just changes with time. Just get better at learning to talk. You sound like Stampy Cat. I feel like everyone that says that is just hearing a British accent for the first time. You sound like Mumbo. No, I correct you, my friend. I sound British. That is what this is. Right, that might just be the last of the roof building over here. That all needs lighting up. Freak nuclear accident? Oh, that was it. Yeah, I forgot. There was that one time that I bathed in radiation. Yeah, just got in a pool of radiated water and just, you know, soaked in there. They were like, come have a look at the nuclear accident. Xisuma, don't jump in with the control rods. No, don't go in there. Jeez. Ugh. Now I sound like this. Oh, I'm also a blob of mush. Forgot to mention that bit, didn't I? I'm a blob of radiated mush. Peeps, guess what? It's going to be the end of my live stream today. I hope you enjoyed hanging out with me. 1,600 peeps coming in, tuning in. Thanks for coming by. Be sure to hit that follow button. I'm now looking for someone to raid. Let's go raid Bruno Danu today. Or actually, maybe, who's this person? They're obviously... Actually, I'm going to send you over to Wax Fraud. I think we raided them a while ago and I was impressed and I followed or something like that. I don't know. Yeah, we'll go raid Wax Fraud. Anyway, that is it. Thank you for tuning in. Hit the follow button, hit the raid. Thanks to all the peeps who subscribed, resubscribed, donated and cheered. Thanks to all the peeps in the chat, the moderators, the Patreons, the people gifting subs. Y'all are appreciated. You can now hit that raid button. So take care and I'll see you later. Bye.